Level 1 hype train. We're getting there. If you are so inclined and you want to help the show, patreon.com/HalSparks. Next Wednesday, of course, I will be doing another show at Flappers. If you're a patron, you can come to the show and bring a guest for free to any of my live stand-up shows. And then, of course, I will live stream it to the patrons from my, from the showroom on that night, no matter where you are in the world. And then everybody else gets to watch it later. It's not like I don't do the paywall thing very well. I mean, some like early access seems like the most I would want to do, but like, here's what it feels like to me. Before I move on to my next clip and finish out for the evening, there's a tradition or history, and you may have heard about this because of the like some of the people who had performed in Russia and then went, I'm not doing that shit again, and like big celebrities like Beyonce and others who performed on like the yachts of, oh, thanks, Norman. Look at that. Got us to the hype train right out of the gate. Bless you. That, they perform on these like mega yachts and stuff for like a huge payday. And I don't blame them for doing it. Like, who's going to pass that shit up as long as the person isn't directly a murderer or someone awful? Whatever. Do your thing. I'm not here. It's music or it's comedy or whatever you're doing. Most of the time it's music that these folks go and perform for. But it always seemed a bit weird. Like, I'm doing this exclusive show only for people who can afford to get on this yacht at this time. That seems weird to me. And so doing a paywall thing on Patreon where we have exclusive content where you can only see this if you're a member, or like Steven Crowder does his mug club, which for the longest time I thought was mud club because of the way they say it all the time. And I'm still going to call it that because I think it's more appropriate to what's actually in the content of the show. Mud club. And then TYT does that. They have their kind of like, the first hour's free kind of drug addict drag that they do. So I feel that's wrong. So if you want to support the show, please support the show in its form and in its openness. I have no interest in throwing up a curtain of exclusivity and having people pay for that exclusivity. That's not why I do the show. So if you're going to contribute, please contribute with the knowledge that you're doing it because you like what I do with the show and you want more people to see it. If that makes sense. I hope it does. That's it. It doesn't interest me to make this kind of stuff exclusive in any way. So I'm just going to say that outright. I just find that odd. And you know what else I find odd? I find Diamond and Silk very odd. I find them very odd. These ladies, bless their hearts, they've got a regular show now on Mike Lindell's network, and this is the name of this one. Jim Crow Joe Biden is pardoning anyone locked up for possession of marijuana. Yes, I know. You're thinking, no, that's not actually what happened. You're like, no. No, it's whatever they say it is, because I don't understand. I don't understand why and again, the accusation on the right, the language around the right, is that Biden is doing this to buy the black vote. This has been the story on a myriad of right-wing shows, internet shows anyways, like YouTube and Rumble on the show. That's what they're always saying. It's like, he's just doing this marijuana stuff to make the black people vote for him. That's really it. So I will say at least they are varying from the standard line on the Republican side of the aisle by saying that they're calling him Jim Crow Joe Biden and that he's doing this just to I'm really curious. I honestly am really curious where they take this, because the name confuses me. Like I said, considering the sales point.
My son got me this weird new tool for
cool.
Father's Day.
That's nice.
And at first, I thought it looked kind of crazy.
It's crazy.
Hold on. All prior federal offenses of simple marijuana possession.
Hold on one second. I need to hear their full description of this, and it was a little quiet. Let me bring it up because these two share a mic in the foyer or wherever they do their show. They're at the dining room table off the living room. Does anybody know whose house this is? It's one of their houses, I think. Do they live together? There's got to be a documentary made. I'm just saying. Okay, back up.
So I'm reading that Biden is pardoning all prior federal offenses of simple marijuana possession. He goes on to say there are thousands of people who were previously convicted of simple possession who may be denied employment, housing, or educational opportunities as a result. He said, my pardon will remove this burden. So in my humble opinion, I want you all to be careful because
be very careful.
This could be another 52 fake out.
This could be another 52 fake out. Is this one of those things where like you've won a microwave? Just come down to the police station and pick it up, and it turns out that it was a trap. It's a trap.
Exactly. These people are trying to win an election.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So it is the same thing. They have been sent on behalf of Mike Lindell to be the black whisperers for Lindell TV. Okay.
So if I go ahead on and I put this in place, then all of these people will vote for me. If Biden pardon you, you better vote for American First policy.
That's right.
Okay. First of all, it's America First as a policy. It's kind of important. Trump makes the same mistake, so you're totally forgiven. American First would technically be, I mean, you can only vote if you're an American. So, all right.
You better vote for a Republican.
Yep.
You better vote for the person who wants it to be harder for you to get a job, because now you're going to have to work. What?
Do not vote for Biden.
No. Yes, I agree. In this midterm, don't vote for Biden. I would say if you see that on the voting machine and you don't have like someone who just randomly has the name Biden running for fucking comptroller in your state, which would be hilarious, don't vote for him in the midterm. Please.
Biden handed you trinkets and treats.
Wait a minute.
What was
Biden's handing you trinkets and treats, like no longer having a federal simple possession charge on your record.
can I just say this?
Yeah, please jump in, please, because I'm not quite sure why we're mad at him.
Go
Can
ahead.
I just get this all off?
Go ahead.
Let me tell you what's wrong with Biden.
Okay, please tell me what's wrong with Biden doing this for people.
See, we done saw that video
Yeah.
where Biden's son was wearing all of that crap.
Come on. Yeah.
Wait a minute. His son was wearing all of that crack. Wearing it. I didn't realize he'd made a I wear my crack of many colors. I've got
Okay.
No, not okay. Wearing crack? Who wears crack? I mean, it's look, it was in fashion a long time ago. Maybe in the 90s people wore crack. I mean, it was easy to come by or whatever. But you get a good sweat on, you're going to be fucked up for days.
He don't want nobody to call him out on that.
That's right.
Biden doesn't want anybody calling him out for his son wearing crack. So he's pardoning people for simple possession as a distraction. I'm just going to say that for future politicians, if you're watching this and you're like, I like what Biden's doing, but I think he made a couple of mistakes. How could I improve on it? One way is that if you're trying to draw attention away from a drug-related scandal in your family, don't make big political moves involving drugs. So let me give you an example. If your son-in-law got a job in the White House, but not a real job, he just got to hang around and whisper in your ear all the time, like some sort of android Rasputin, just because he was married to your daughter. And they made this $2 billion deal with the Saudis, and you didn't want people to pay attention to that because it was a little bit sketchy, and you were hoping he would give you some. Maybe don't pardon people who failed to, who violated the FARA Act and had a deal with the Saudis in particular. I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Like, I would go way over here. Like a magician, if you're trying to, make something disappear, don't, your distraction can't be right next to the other one. Like, oh, see this right here? See this? Watch this. Oh, poof. That you have to try moving it over here. I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Like, kind of can't on my green screen's not big enough. My arm has disappeared.
He think he doing us a favor.
Is he? I don't know. Is this the day we find out that both Diamond and or Silk have a simple possession charge? If so, I'm glad it's expunged. I don't think this should stop you from getting a job at Lindell TV.
You to think he's doing you a favor while he's trying to save his son Hunter.
Yeah.
Yes. This I just insofar as anyone knows, Hunter does not have a simple pot possession charge in his past that has been stopping him from getting work as a painter or something.
And
again,
keep in mind that this is the same man that wrote the piece of legislation.
That's right.
Back in 1994, the 1994 crime bill.
Mm-hmm. Yes, the one that all the black mayors signed on to, and the Congressional Black Caucus was actually for, and that the vast majority of which people are asking for a new version of it today, and that the illusion is that the crime bill is why we had over incarceration in the United States, when that had nothing to do with it. In fact, it was the fingerprint system and VICAP coming online in 6 years' time from 1993 to 1999, which is 100% why there was so much more incarceration, because you could no longer rapey, murdery, kill, and steal, and then move to another state and say, my name's Sam, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, and get away with it, or go to state penitentiary and then have them not be able to find you while they were looking for you being rapey, murdery, killy, and thievy in another state.
To lock you up.
Well, it would seem that he's saying that shouldn't lock you up.
That's right.
If you had just a little bit of something.
Come on.
If you had a little bit of something, come on. By the way, if you still have a little bit of something and it happens to be a little bit of fentanyl or heroin or something else, you're still going to jail. But simple possession of marijuana is not. I mean, it is now and should be in the category of open container of alcohol, a ticket. But stop it. Now
You want to say, oh Lord, I had a come to Jesus moment. And today he said
okay, so if he's trying to say he had a come to Jesus moment, then it wouldn't work if it ended up being a trap. So obviously your problem is with Jesus, I think, at this point, Silk. I'm fairly certain. If you're going to be upset with anybody, we have to blame Jesus at this point. I'm sorry. Biden came to Jesus, and Jesus said, I think the simple possession thing is a no-brainer. I'm paraphrasing. He says a lot of these and thys and those, because in my universe, Jesus speaks King James, because I don't understand Greek, and it would just be a mess.
Today we begin to right our wrongs.
You should have
20 years later.
Oh, she was mad. There's going to be an outburst. We should have what?
You just told me about jumping up there. You should have been wrong.
Almost
wrong.
20 years later, now he want to right his wrong.
First of all, the crime bill didn't make possession of marijuana a crime or make it a Schedule A narcotic. It didn't get lined up with the other drugs in 1990. It's been that way since fucking Nixon.
Just say that.
Go ahead on and say
before
it.
we bring on the guest.
Oh yeah, but yeah, tap the brakes there, Diamond. Just we're here to listen. You don't have to scream. We're giving you your moment.
If Biden want to right his wrong,
if Biden wants to right his wrongs,
start all the way back when you joined the racist Democrat Party.
Start all the way back when you joined the racist Democrat Party and made Kamala Harris your vice president because racism.
Right.
When you were hand in hand with a KKK member.
That's right.
When you said you reached across the
That's
aisle
what he
with
said.
the segregationists.
Well, yeah, they had to reach across the aisle because they were not in his party. They were. What's across the? Okay, if you're a Democrat, I'm just saying, what's across the aisle? If you're hand in hand, he wouldn't have to reach across the aisle. It would be on his side of the aisle. But why? You might be onto something, Diamond. You might have just stumbled into something wonderful. This might be it's a potential for an aha moment. But the reason he had to reach across the aisle was because, yes, Democratic Party, thank you for pointing that out as well, Norman, is because across the aisle was the Republican Party, home of Strom Thurmond, for example.
You didn't have to reach far because they were right there in your party. When you
Well, I mean, it was all a big party. I mean, they were drinking.
say, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black, right those wrongs.
That's right.
Right those wrongs. Yeah. I will, to be completely frank, I did not, he was quoting somebody when he said that, and I thought that's a bad phrase to make it sound like it came directly from you. He was saying, like, somebody said you did it, and everybody cut out that part of it. And I think that's a mistake to say. I think that's an awkward thing to say as a white fellow. I think that's strange. It doesn't bother me. As far as the policies, it's working out pretty well for everybody. The equity and equality ideals of the Democratic Party currently being what they are, I think it's all right.
And I said 20 years. Actually, it's almost 30 years.
Yes, it was. You're right. The 90s were 30 years ago. Were we ever so young?
Almost 30 years later. Okay?
Okay.
You probably, I don't know if you still got people locked up for a little bit of something.
No. Most of the people who, and they didn't. All right. You realize the crime bill when it went into effect didn't just like lock up a bunch of people right then, like that year, and then the laws didn't apply going forward. Also, the point is that the people had, there was expunging convictions and pardoning them because a lot of them did very little time, if any. Sometimes they get, probation or work release or, minor stuff, depending on the jurisdiction, depending on what hard asses they were. Most of it, again, these are all federal charges. They're trying to get the states to follow up. But at no point, like, nobody's still in jail for one count of simple possession. I would call that complex possession, if that were the case.
Because of this here particular 1994 crime bill.
Yeah, because the crime bill did not make pot illegal. It didn't make, the crime bill did not make simple possession a 35-year charge. Just for the record.
But I do know,
thanks, Beatos,
that people are devastated. You probably had a lot of people that couldn't get jobs.
Yeah, again, when did they think pot became illegal?
That couldn't get housing, that was out on the street homeless because of the way that they had these legislations written up, thanks to Jim Crow Joe.
Here is what needs to happen.
No. Hi, dummy. Most of the crime bill stuff had to do with repeat offenders anyways. It was more in line with 3 strikes than it was with 1 strike.
Happened to Jim Crow Joe. Just like I am requesting that Nancy Pelosi pick crops. Jim Crow Joe need to be where he can't get nothing. So
hold on. Did Nancy Pelosi do what?
Here is what needs to happen to Jim Crow Joe. Just like I am requesting that Nancy Pelosi pick crops.
Nancy Pelosi pick crops. Because she's old. I don't know. Well, it's hard to say.
Jim Crow Joe need to be where he can't get nothing, so he can see how that feels.
Jim Crow Joe needs to be where he can't get anything, so he can know how that feels. Like where? You mean like one of those saline tanks?
Because let me just say this here, then we're gonna bring on the guest.
Yeah, please.
What you can't do is leave a border wide open,
Yeah, the border's not wide open.
or fix it where this here mess gets into the community, and now you want to lock everybody up.
The problem at the beginning of the video was that he wants to let everybody out, and then now he wants to lock. I don't know. I don't. Oh man. Yeah, but I don't. That do you? I keep wanting one of them to just like reach up and take the piece of paper and go, oh, that's my bad. So do we let him out or lock him up? Is Biden bad for letting him out or locking him up, or is he? It's a trick. He's only letting people out who aren't in, so that he can lock them back up. I don't know. You got to give them points for trying, I suppose. We held on as long as this. I can't imagine it's only got 150 rumbles, so it's not doing that well. But it has 471 views. It's new. They've got 600,000 subscribers. And yet, am I one of these? Am I to believe that maybe it just takes a while. Maybe there's a trickle down to it. Maybe this is network subscribers. Am I to believe that with 601,000 subscribers, this video, which is all of 3 minutes long, and it's a day old. It's been sitting. And topic wise, it's like 3 days old. Nobody wants to click on Jim Crow. I doubt it. I don't think that's what's going on. They call him this all the time. Come on, patrons. That's right. Patreon.com/HouseParks. Support the show if you can. If you can't, do not worry about it. Please help in any way that you can. It's always good when people super chat. If you're on Facebook, you can use stars. It's a great way to support. We have bots. Did we get some bots in here? I tried to clear. It's at this point, I feel like they couldn't do an SNL skit about these guys because it's kind of like the Herschel Walker stuff. It can appear racist, even though what their idiocy has nothing to do with their skin color. They're just assholes. Like, but I can see why they'd go like, I'm not quite sure if we can get away, right? It's amazing to me that this. I mean, they've got a regular show on Lindell TV.